it's Enigma, and today, well, I'm going to be tackling once again the subject of gaming on Linux. Specifically, I want to talk about the best gaming peripherals that you could be using on Linux at this moment. I'm not talking about how good the products are, because that obviously depends on the manufacturer, but I'm talking about the best support. Your DPI, your RGB, pretty much all your customization, everything that you do involving your peripherals, which one is gonna get the best amount of support on Linux? I'm just gonna go out and say it's Razer. Razer has the best support on Linux, and that hurts me to say because I'm a Logitech guy. In fact, my main mouse is the Logitech G303 Shroud Edition. That doesn't mean that Logitech peripherals are not also supported on Linux. They are, but that's a bit of a tricky situation. Synapse as well as the G Hub do not work on Linux. You cannot install them no matter what you do. Even if you run a compatibility system, it's still not going to work. However, when it comes to the gaming peripheral market as well as its compatibility, Razer is the brand that has the most amount of support that's actively being worked on. Even though you're not going to be running Synapse, when you're going to be booting up Linux and when you're going to be connecting your Razer mouse or your Razer keyboard, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be installing something called OpenRazer. OpenRazer is an open source compatibility program that you install on your distro, and pretty much once it's fully installed, it acts very similar to Synapse, given you are going to have to install something else on top of OpenRazer just to get your customization available. I ended up going through this, and I'm very impressed as to how well this is made, especially since it's open source and it's community made. So literally, this has had a lot of time and a lot of testing to make sure that everything runs well. Unfortunately, I can't connect my Linux laptop to my desktop because my capture card, it's done. It's done for. So at the very least, what I can do is I can just show off the screen if the webcam is even gonna be able to see it. Now, as you can see, after installing OpenRazer, I ended up installing the second program, which is Polychromatic. It took me a while to remember. I literally had to glance, and my goodness, it's tiny. I gotta increase the font size, but that's for another time. But as you can see, the Basilisk X Hyperspeed is available, and I can adjust my DPI as well as my polling rates. I've already got it set to the max. This is pretty cool, especially since this was built on open source software. Now, this is the only Razer item that I have, but let's say I were to try to get a Razer keyboard or maybe even a headset, I, in theory, should be able to customize everything through Polychromatic. Now, there is something that I should probably mention, and that is that Polychromatic is very difficult to install. In fact, OpenRazer itself is very difficult to install. This is something that you're going to have to get used to, but OpenRazer and Polychromatic, you're going to have to install them using the command lines, which means you're gonna have to get used to working on the terminal. I know that is very scary, but I can promise you, once you get the hang of it, it's not as scary as you think, and it's not that bad, especially since the documentation for this software is approachable, I guess is the right way to say it. And if anything, I am running Nobara 43, which is built on Fedora. There was a very helpful guide for me that I followed with, which I will leave listed and linked in the description box below, that you can follow along and try it out for yourself. And I gotta say, this was a lot of fun. I had no idea that I could do this. Now, going back to the Logitech peripherals, there are two softwares that you can install on Linux to get them to work. The first is called Piper, and the second is called Solar, but Solar with two A's. Now, Piper is open source. The main catch is that even though they do have a compatibility list on the Logitech peripherals that you can use, just because it's on the list doesn't mean that it's going to work. I know that doesn't make a lot of sense, but it is how it is, and from what I saw, the last update was about 3 years ago as of the time I'm recording this video. Now, as for solar, it's a little bit easier. I feel like you're gonna get a lot more, well, it's gonna be accessible to install solar. The main downside with that is that it's gonna be running in the background, so you're gonna have to get used to allocating specific resources in order to get that to work. So there's pros and cons into using Logitech peripherals on Linux, whereas Razer peripherals with Linux, because these have been around for a lot longer in, at the very least, the Linux community. A lot more work has been done on this. I know I'm repeating myself, but it's the truth. More work has been done on Razer peripherals than there has been on Logitech. Now, this does not mean that you should go out and buy as many Razer peripherals as you want just to put them on Linux. Don't do that unless you have the money to do that. Be financially responsible and work with what you have. If you have a lot of Logitech peripherals, just be patient, because you're gonna have to do a lot of tinkering in order to get them to work. And if you do decide to go the route on getting Razer peripherals, do your homework and always look out for deals, because you can get some pretty good Logitech peripherals, not Logitech, Razer peripherals, for pretty cheap. You know, you can technically get good deals on Logitech too, so I'm gonna have to take back what I took back. And if you already have Razer peripherals, they're gonna work well with Linux. You just have to be patient and program, download everything that you need to get it to work. Although, if anything, the mouse gates that I have on this are kind of dirty, so I'm gonna have to get these replaced, but that's for another time. Anyways, that's the end of the video. I really hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope you found this very informative. If you did, leave a like and also subscribe to my channel and turn on those post notifications so you never miss out on a video or a live stream. And if you would like to help support the channel, check out buymeacoffee.com/Enygma. Links for everything will be down in the description box below. And as always, this is San Diego Shooting Star, signing out.